Okay, we're live, and I'm Richard, and some of my friends are here, and we're going to chat about seeing who you really are. I think I don't know what we're going to do really. So I'm going to ask people to invite people to introduce themselves a bit. So, Karen, would you like to start?
Sure, I'm in Holland, and I've been working with this approach. Working is a bit of a heavy word, but entertaining myself with it for about 3.5 years now, I think, and I'm astounded. I mean, I liked it immediately because of the unmissableness of looking here and seeing nothing. I mean, how clear do you want to have it in your face? But then what keeps astonishing me is that this space is, and what everything that appears in it, it's never boring. Even if it's boring, it's not boring the moment I realize it. It's it's just as Douglas writes, it's an ongoing source of wonderment, and new details get to me, and can't stop thinking. There's always something new and interesting, and who would think that if I see nothing here? But it's true.
Marvelous. Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll come back to that, I'm sure. Sequoia?
Yeah, I'm in the United States, in Oregon on the coast, and I've been practicing Headless Way for probably almost a year now, and it has been a radical shift in my life in almost every aspect of my life. I have a completely different relationship with my own thoughts, my own feelings, with my personal relationships, as a result of just noticing who I truly am, with having engaged no other work beyond that, no other practice or psychological work in my life. It's just headlessness, and it makes all the difference in the world to me.
Marvelous. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm just going along the line here. Ilka?
Yes, hello, I'm from Germany, and I'm also headless nearly a year, for nearly a year. And yes, for me it was also totally, it was like a revelation and a liberation at the same time, because I had the feeling that this is what I've been looking during my spiritual path, what I've been looking for during my spiritual path. And so, yes, I'm very glad to just have found that, and also to have the possibility and the opportunity to talk with you all, and to have this great, yeah, I don't know, this great amount of people who are like me and who also like talking about these things that we discovered together.
It's the Headless Social Club.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Gary?
Well, Richard, that's the perfect segue. The Headless Social Club. I'll get to that in a second, but first, I'm Gary. I'm from Staten Island, here in New York. And on one hand, I'm kind of a newcomer. On the other hand, I feel very much like an old timer. But even beyond that, and even more so, I feel like a no timer. My whole relationship to time has really shifted and changed, and in going down this path, so to speak, maybe that's not proper, not a good image because there's nowhere to go. Okay, but practicing headlessness really does change my sense, certainly, of time, and there's much more a sense of timelessness and placelessness. It's like that old thing, no matter where you go, there you are. Well, that's kind of like a cliche, but I'm finding like I can't go anywhere. There's no place to go. I'm always here. So so things shift, and in a very delightful way, because things are just become easier. There's no stress and strain. And so I like the getting back to the Headless Club. It's like a club, and the great thing about that is there's no hierarchy, and there's that man is more headless than I am. No, there's no, there's a Zen saying, place no head above your own. Well, in headlessness, you can't, because there are no heads to place. So that makes it good, equal and even in the great expanse, as they say. So that's it for me. Thanks. Great to be here. Thanks, Richard, for doing this.
Great to have you, Gary. All right. And Colin?
Hi, I'm Colin from Dublin. I've come across headlessness about 6-7 months ago. I read a book by Douglas and fell in love with his writing. Read about 4 or 5 of them since then. And being from Ireland, brought up a Catholic, and kind of rejected a lot of the dogma and practices of Catholicism, but didn't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And kind of Douglas has sort of, resonated with his work of Christian mystics and the core of religion. It really interested me how he did that, and kind of really brought me back to, look for the real essence of those, if you like. So then, I've been at a workshop, brought Richard to Dublin, and had a great weekend, and really enjoying it. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much. Great. And Bill?
Hi, I'm Bill. I'm in the USA, in Hawaii, and I've been involved in headlessness for about 20 years or more, but I've had a lot of resistance along the way, some periods of disinvolvement, disinterest, other periods of more involvement. And I agree with a lot of what has been already said, but I would only add briefly that in my view, the best thing about headlessness has been a revival and restoration of an intuition I had as a child, that I belonged in the world, that the world was in me and I was in the world. I had this feeling as a child, and it went away. I grew out of it, I thought, or it wasn't mature. But then I realized with headlessness that this was a nonverbal, direct way of reviving that intuition. And I'm very thankful for that. And I could also have the best of being an adult as well as the best of being a child. I could live as a person in the world and have the world in me and still function as an adult. And I'm truly grateful for that. So I'm happy to see all of you and happy to be here this morning.
Marvelous. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. So I don't know if anyone has anything in particular they want to talk about. One thing I'd be interested in at some point, if not at the beginning, is when you see who you are, how do you relate to the little one? How do you deal with still being a person, if that's the way you feel? Something like that. Just living from here. And I've just thrown a very wide net there.
It's interesting. Yesterday, I had to do some weeding in the garden. Weeds seem to be part of the creation, which the little one rejects or wants to avoid. And I had given myself an hour to do it, and of course something interrupted that plan, and said, right, I'll have it done in an hour. But it was interesting. The little one, it resists things, but the one doesn't resist anything. The plan, there was it didn't matter to the one when it was done or when it wasn't done. And weeds are not a problem to the one.
Yes, I'm giving my kitchen a kind of spring cleaning, and I see that I'm very patient with myself and with the work, how it is going on, because of course I thought that I could do this at least in one day or something, but of course I couldn't, and I was called away to doing other things, and so then now I'm very happy to do the thing step by step. Now I'm doing this cupboard, and in the afternoon noon or tomorrow I'm doing that cupboard, and it is like there is a sense of pleasure in what I'm doing, because I have also this tenderness versus myself, because the little me is something that I can love as I love any other person who I encounter, so to say. And so it is a pleasure from the first second to the last, because it's just something like I'm in my own society, in my own companionship, or how do you say in English?
Yes, own company.
In company, yes.
Yeah.
Like I'm in my own company, something
Yeah.
like that.
But I just had to go to the airport, and the plane was later than I thought, and I got frustrated. And for me, seeing who I am, I'm aware of it these days, does not even out my life so it's problem free at all. And it's full of problems. Fortunately, they're there. Perhaps we should do an experiment. Well,
I'd like to do one
Sure.
if that works.
yes,
I'd like to do the eyes closed experiment.
yes.
Okay. So everyone, please close your eyes and be aware of what you experience. Right now I experience a vast darkness with specks of light in it. How big is this darkness? I can't really tell how big it is from my perspective. Is there more than one darkness? I personally see only one. It's immeasurable in size for me. Now, turn your attention to hearing. What do you hear? Where are all the sounds coming from? Is there more than one source for all those sounds? I can only find one source for my sound. Now, what physical sensations do you feel and experience? Where are they arising from? Is there more than one source for those sensations? Can you pick them out and define them? Or are they just arising in a larger field of sensation? What emotions are you experiencing being inside this vastness? I'm feeling a sense of connection and peace and support. Where do these feelings originate from? Do you have more than one source for them? I can find only one source. What does this spaciousness and darkness mean to you? When you're ready, feel free to open your eyes.
Thank you. No boundary.
When I connect this experience to your question, Richard, that you asked about the relationship with the little one, then what strikes me is this ongoing experience, and there's in essence there's not a preference for something, and that's what I also found in my well, the relationship between the big one and the little one, if you would call it a relationship, is that I got, when I really understood that I got much more compassion for my personality and my little person, that I think I realized more that every dislike and like on that level is, well, it can be there, of course, but it doesn't make a difference, because this experience, this continuum of experiences just goes on. And that's good. That's fine. It's beautiful. Even if I don't like it, it's no problem at all. I don't need to change anything. And that's a big difference. I think before seeing this so clearly, I was still trying to manipulate things my way, just a little bit.
Yes. It's placing it. I like the way of putting it. You place things. That the little one is somewhere there and not here. And I'm free of the little one here. And I see Richard on the screen amongst the crowd. And he does his thing, more or less. But it doesn't affect, good or bad, the space where I am. And yes,
That's it. Yes, and the space itself has no preference,
no,
does it?
No.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I am free. In one sense, I am free of the little person, but in another sense, I'm not. He keeps me on my toes. He comes up with things that I wouldn't have predicted or wouldn't have expected that I have to deal with. And in a way, I appreciate that, and I feel compassion to the little person, but I also am humbled by him. And I have other reactions too from time to time. And it seems to be I'm in a way I'm stuck with him, so I might as well learn how to deal with him.
Yes. And I suppose when you say one thing, you can say the opposite. Like you say that who you are has no preferences. Oh, I was thinking just then as you were saying that it does have a preference. It has the preference of what is actually happening.
It's like we live in both the first person world and the third person world, and the third person world has a dualistic quality to it. There's right and wrong, good and bad, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, and we have to act in that world, but we act from that world there, from here. And so both are going on at the same time. And the trick is to learn how to deal skillfully with both.
Yeah, I think for me, the first person experience is the preference, as you say, the preferences for what's happening, because it's totally engaged with what's happening. It just seems to be really enjoying. I don't know if enjoying is too strong a word, but engaged or having fun. That may be too strong as well, but engagement may be the right word. But with actually what's happening, it seems to be like on an adventure, as you said before, as if it's really, just with what's happening.
And what happens isn't always easy. It's sometimes very difficult. But it's who you really are is engaged with that, because you can't not be. There's nothing in the way. But to me, it doesn't mean life is just a bed of roses, easy. It's full of challenges.
Well, I think the good news is that given this new kind of perspective, it doesn't have to be a bed of roses. In other words, I can think of two immediate effects of this kind of, let's call it this new relationship, okay, between the space of awareness, or whatever you want, however you want to term it, and what we're calling here the little me, or the person. Okay. Well, the first effect right away for me is that I no longer take that person, that character, all that seriously anymore. Certainly not to the extent that I took it in the past. When I was identified with this character, yes, I took it very seriously. But now that identification has kind of loosened up, and I'm more comfortable with a greater identification with a greater reality than the narrow self. The other thing is, talking about like bed of roses type thing. The other effect is that nothing fundamentally has to change. I don't mean if I get a flat tire, I'm not going to change it. Yes, I don't mean that. I'm talking about basically, fundamentally, I don't have to change. In other words, I don't have to become a better person. I don't have to be smarter. I don't have to read more books. In other words, I am as I am, and it's okay, because I see myself more and more as just another character on that stage. And as we said before, the space never changes, no matter what's in, flat tire or no flat tire. The space is unaffected. So this changes the relationship, and it eases things up in a big way.
It's fantastic, isn't it, Gary, to discover that reality where you are, that is absolutely okay, more than okay. What a fantastic discovery. And it's always there, as you say, you can't get away from it. And it's just kind of daily appreciating this amazing reality, really, that you are. Yeah.
Yes, I was going to acknowledge what Gary said, that, and what I mentioned earlier, is that it does change your relationship with your emotions. You much less identify with them. In the past, big emotional trauma would, set me spinning, and I do so much less now, and recognize that I am not those emotions. I think that's the message that we've been given all throughout our life, is that you are that personality, you are those emotions.
Yeah.
And the Headless Way allows me to know that that's not the reality.
Yes. Your mind is at large, isn't it? I mean, no mind here. Your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions are part of the view out. It's not denial. In fact, I think it's attention to them. But your mind is kind of blends with the world. And how freeing is that? To be free of your mind here, but to be full of the whole universe, including all your reactions. I mean, to be conscious of that must make a difference, and it does.
Yes. And Gary had mentioned that he doesn't have to change, but from my experience, he will change just by having this relationship.
Mm. Yes. Awakening to the center is potentially the biggest change of all, really.
Another thing is that, you know, the fun quotient increases dramatically. In other words, even serious things, I have to say, you know, they can be seen as being not that serious. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's easier to relax, to have fun, and it's ever new, ever changing, and that's good. It's not like you're trying to keep things in place anymore. You know, it's like, hey, what's next? Who knows? You know, that makes it fun. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's a game changer. Because before it's like, oh no, what's going to happen next? You know, it goes from like, what's going to happen next to like, hey, what's going to happen next? You know, we don't know.
That's good. Yeah. Stress changes into fun. The source becomes the resource.
I also tend to have less concern about other people because sometimes, yes, I'm a bit concerned about how people feel, or if my friends, they are not feeling well, or my kids, they're suffering from their school or something, I don't know. And from the first person view, it is like, I know that they have a hidden secret that they even don't know, but I'm so convinced that inside they are like me exactly, and that they also come from this source, and they also have this void and this space, and they just haven't discovered it yet. And
Yes.
so it diminishes also my concern about them, because
Yes.
how can they be other than very, very okay?
Yes. Yes. It must affect our relationship with others when we realize they're in the same blessed condition at center as we are. I mean, it's just ridiculous to see that you are blessed in this essential way, and then to deny it to others. Everyone is in this condition.
Yes, they just haven't noticed yet.
Yes.
That's all.
I mean, Ilka, do you think that your children kind of, I mean, are they aware that you're seeing who you are? I mean, does your seeing affect them?
Oh, I think that they are. I think that I'm in general more relaxed in my daily ways of behaving, and so I hope that it also shines a bit on them, my relaxation and my. Yes, I'm not.
But do you have the feeling that when you're with them, I mean, like now, when you're with us, and you're seeing that you are this boundless space that includes them, that you're
Yes.
sort of kind of doing it for them in a way? No?
That I'm doing it for them. You see, you think?
It's just a way of thinking about it. I mean, now that you're talking to me, and there's one, and yet there's two, right? There's Ilka and Richard, but there's one consciousness.
Yes.
But the consciousness that you're aware of, it is, you know, I mean, we can't divide it up.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next time I'm with my children, perhaps this will come up again.
But now, as you talk to me, I mean, or as we are all talking now, it's true. There's only one consciousness here, isn't there? There is for me.
It is, yes. So we could as well just shut this down and.
Why?
No, but it feels like that for me in the moment, right now. That I'm with me.
Yes.
That's hanging out with you is to be with myself.
Yes. I mean, I'm curious for everyone here. What's it like to be together, but to be aware of this simple fact? There's only one consciousness, right? But quite a few, you know, several voices here.
Yeah, for me, there's no boundary to this first person, and the first person, it's more than it's the same as you. It is you. There's a sense that I am you. I am Calm. I am Karen. I am Gary, Ilka, Richard, Sequoia. because there's no boundary to what's here.
Mm.
There's just everybody.
That's pretty wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yes, and then the moment somebody reports from how it is for them, then these interesting reports come, because they're never the same as the thoughts that come. Well, I would almost say move through my head, move through my space.
Yes.
So that's why it's so interesting to listen to you all, because you always light up another facet.
Yes. And your voice now, Karen, and my voice are in, there's two voices in one consciousness, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Yes, and it shows also that the thoughts also belong to there, because I can listen to my thoughts and you can listen to your thoughts, but those things like thoughts, those are also the things in the in the
In the
third
space.
person realm. Yes, and it's only the source that that we are all together, and each of the individual things is different, ne?
Yes.
It kind of all puts the third person in perspective. We all have this one person consciousness. Our individual third persons are they kind of take their rightful place in our lives, but not they don't take over the whole show. Their own perspective. They do what they're supposed to do from the perspective of the first person. So it kind of balances out life event.
And from the third person perspective, being headless offers me so much more empathy and caring and understanding for both myself and for others in functioning in the world and being in the third person. That aspect of headlessness also.
I just had an experience of the one consciousness, and I was here focusing on our conversation, of course, and the dog who was outside was, kept throwing himself against the window, wanting to get in. I was hoping he would just go away because I was, didn't want to interrupt them. But anyway, I finally, he was insistent, and so as I got up to go to let him in, there was experience of, hey, there's no separation between this consciousness and that consciousness, and there's just one consciousness in which everything happens. We're talking, the dog is trying to get in the house, I'm opening the door, but there's no separation or split. And the other thing that I was thinking of in relationship to this question of one consciousness, and it relates to this experience I just had, is that nothing is foreign to it. There's no outside it. Like, oh no, that's an intrusion. No, there's no intrusion. And the other thing is, there are no strangers. I mean, we're all here. How well do we know each other? It doesn't matter because there are no strangers. It's just part of this one seamless, unbroken flow of reality, or whatever you want to call it. So that was a good thing that happened. In the beginning, I was saying, "Oh, go away, go away." I said, "Hey, include the dog too. Why not?"
Yes.
Well said. Well said, Gary.
I was coming out of a cinema Friday night, and Dublin was very packed with people out socialising, crowds everywhere, and it was that experience of just no strangers. That's what Gary just said there. All these bodies moving around, laughing, joking, and some begging, but it was all just, there was no strangers. That's really like that. No separation. It was really engagement again, just what's happening. Yeah.
To have this consciousness, if you like, in common is amazing, isn't it? I mean, it's not just a concept, an idea. You're aware of it. and everything's within you. And you're meeting others now who are also aware of this wonderful thing, but have their different expression. Incredible.
It's a lot of the part of my intuition of being a child, yet also being able to function as an adult. Wonderful feeling.
It also means that nothing can happen to you that is not yourself somehow. So if you have a look in the future and there's nothing yet that you can get afraid of or something, because whatever will happen, it will happen inside you. So where's the use of being afraid of anything?
Isn't that incredible? Incredible. I mean, most of what happens is unpredictable, right? But what is absolutely predictable is you are. And there's nothing outside you, and there never will be.
Yeah, knowing that and trusting that enables me to deal with my third person events.
Yes. I mean, my third person is always making mistakes. I know there aren't any mistakes, but in as much as there are, but I am the space for that, and for everybody. I mean, we're all just very limited beings at that level, aren't we? But to be the one as well.
Out there, there's mistakes all the time, and in here there aren't mistakes, but there's nothing. There's a void.
Yes.
So it's the antidote to fear and shame and mistakes, or guilt, or
Yeah. Because I mean, Colin, you don't find any fear or shame at center, do you?
No.
No. You probably find it sometimes out there in your experience, right?
True.
I do, but not at center.
It's unbelievable that this is a living reality, is it? It's not a concept or just a sense, but it's a fact.
Yeah, it's
and
a miracle.
I can see it any moment if I want to.
I know, and the news is so good, isn't it? And you don't have to wait for the good news, and it doesn't develop slowly. I mean, in that direction, it develops all the time, thank goodness. But in this direction, you don't have to wait. The miracle is 100% happening now, being or something.
That's what I meant in the beginning when I introduced myself, with this wonder that this space where, nothing is going on, but that's so full of wonder, so interesting.
Yeah.
There's always something.
I mean, it's so creative, isn't it? I mean, as you say, there's always something going on that's new and unexpected.
Absolutely, yes.
And I noticed that from here, there's no distance to anything. Out there, there's always a distance or separation. And where there's separation, there's bound to be confrontation. But from here, there's no distance from anything.
Yeah.
So it's like it's already here.
Yes, I have this metaphor since some days, the metaphor of the light and the prism, and then the rainbow colors come out of the, is it prism in English?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it feels like when the light enters the prism, it is this quite natural way. It unfolds in these beautiful colors very naturally, and this seems to be with myself, because all this that unfolds, totally naturally, like the white light unfolds into these beautiful colors, and me, the consciousness or the void, unfolds into this beautiful reality, absolutely from itself. There's no effort or anything needed. It is just there, and that's really miraculous.
Beautiful,
like this.
beautiful. Yes, the clear light becoming this rainbow array, this spectrum of colors. Now, I mean, I'm looking out, it's a lovely spring, early spring evening, there's blossom, there's blue skies and white clouds, all kind of pouring magically, effortlessly out of this clear light. I mean, how creative and beautiful is that? Yes. Magic.
I think we saw that way often as children, but we just forget it and we grow, or we think we grow out of it. But it's such a pleasure to remember that feeling of experiencing the world in that beautiful way.
Mm. Yes. And this, for me, this deepening acceptance that others are experiencing exactly the same. That you, Bill, are looking out at, and you've got your single eye, and it's floating in nothing. Now what is the details within your single eye, within your consciousness, different? I don't know what those are, but my acceptance, deepening acceptance, that it's absolutely obvious for you, and you're actually looking at your single eye now, and we all are. I mean, fantastic.
Yeah, I think everybody is, but we are consciously aware of it, and we're able to share it with other people who are also consciously aware of it.
But I think it does. But I think there's something happens when you deeply accept that others are it too, and they're looking out at. Even though they may not be thinking about it, it might not cross their mind, as a thought. They are actually this one consciousness looking out with a single eye, and I mean, who is kind of doing, who's accepting that? It's a very deep thing. I think we are all discovering new things every day about this, and that's one of the things exciting me at the moment, is this kind of deep, I mean, it's a kind of empathy at a very deep level, that you're empathizing with everybody, that they are actually looking out at this openness now, and have the single eye floating in the void where they are, so to speak, and they're not in a box.
That's true.
That's really interesting, isn't it? Yeah, put it that. Very interesting.
Yes, because when I hear your voice, Colin, you see, I mean, I from the outside I see Colin, but now I go, all right, Colin's voice is just coming out of the great mystery, the nothing there, right? Gosh, you see, I've kind of placed myself right where you are, more closer to you than you're breathing in a way, and I'm looking. I'm kind of empathizing deeply, deeply. Fantastic.
So it's such a pleasant surprise, too, because when I woke up this morning, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know that this interview or this Google Hangout would turn out the way it did. But it's a pleasant surprise.
There's always something, is it? I just have to look, and then I see it.
Mm.
There's so much to see every moment, really, every moment.
And that experience of yours, Karen, where you just have to look and you see, is what we all have, isn't it? I mean, each one of us here, we only have to look and we see. There's no hierarchy. There's no one doing it better, or worse. We don't. It's not a different operation in a way.
No, I assume from what you all say that you are looking and seeing other things than I see at this moment, but that makes it so interesting again.
But even if someone doesn't know what you're talking about, it doesn't matter, because you know exactly where they're looking out of.
That's
even
right.
if they deny it.
Yes.
Maybe that's why we feel so comfortable and happy around babies and small children, is we can tell right away that that's where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And with adults, we may think, like Richard said, that we may understand on some level where they're coming from, but we don't see it so clearly without any veils. But then, as you say, Richard, with maturity in this way of seeing from the first person, we can see that person, and sometimes I get the sense that I can see their child nature of it, or their what they were like as a baby or a small child.
Mm. Yeah.
I think it's been said of both the children and animals as well, as they never get bored. And being bored is like kind of an adult thing, you know, like same old, same old. And I was just thinking about that now in discussing everything we've been discussing about headlessness and timeless, placeless, and I'm astounded by the fact that it is ever new and there is no boredom, because even if I look out the window here, the same bushes, the same fence, the same little garden doodads, it's always a new experience, even though it's the same old stuff. But it's not boring at all. It's new. Every time I look, it's different, and yet it's the same. So it's very paradoxical, but that's what makes it lively, as opposed to, oh, same old, same old. So there is that childlike quality with this, you know, ever-present presence awareness.
Yes.
Your dog is always wanting in and out of the house. As soon as he's in the house, they want to go out of the house.
So we're coming towards the end of the hour. What's it like being hanging out together in the Great Void?
Very spacious. Very spacious.
I think it's a lot of fun. Let's do it again sometime.
Oh no, Gary! I don't think I put the record button on. We'll have to do it again.
Oh, no. all my best lines. I won't remember them.
No, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's good to share.
It's such a sense of community too, right?
Yes.
It offers an opportunity to connect with people in a way that we don't ordinarily have.
Yeah.
Yes, I notice I'm getting a warm heart for all of you. It's just such a huge connector, this shared space, and then to communicate about it. It's wonderful.
And then when it's over, it's just the next thing, whatever is next. You know?
Exactly.
Is that how much we mean to you, Colin?
Yes.
No, I don't know about you, Colin, but I'm going to remember this always.
Okay. All right. Well, great to hang out together, and we will do it again. So,
Great, Richard.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.